Hello, hello, hello. It's me again, your favorite redacted hombre, coming to you once again from an undisclosed location. And this afternoon, we're going to talk about last night's Royal Rumble. And I've got a few opinions on this show. Some good, mostly good, some not so good. So, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it because it was an interesting show, to say the least. And first off, they kicked it off with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And the Usos were banned from ringside, so it was going to be a one-on-one match. And the entrances, Seth Rollins coming out was and the old Shield music and the Shield gear was hilarious. And I may be late to the party here, but because I don't pay much attention to Seth Rollins and his promos because he just annoys me to no end. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but is he trying to act like the Joker? Because, the night before last on SmackDown with the purple suit and the way he laughs all the time and how he came down the steps when he was entering last night, looked like he was the Joker, man. Now, I don't know if that's the case or not. Like I said, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to Rollins. He's great in the ring, but I can't stand his voice or the way he dresses. I don't know if Becky's dressing him or vice versa, but whatever. But it was cool because when Roman was coming out, and my wife said, I really like that music, and I was like, yeah, it's okay, but I prefer his old Shield theme music. And then bam, the Shield theme music hit. So we both got what we wanted on that one. And of course, they both had a good match. Seth powerbombed, did the old Shield bomb through the table of Reigns. I guess the referee was letting a few things go there because that should have been a disqualification, but I digress. But, they put on a good show. They told a good story. And, of course, Reigns lost via disqualification because he wouldn't let go of the guillotine choke. It was... told a good story. It's probably going to extend, I'm guessing, into the Saudi Arabia show and Elimination Chamber. Hopefully that's as far as it goes because with the events of what unfolded later on in the evening, WrestleMania is... Well, I'll get to that in a second, but hopefully that this feud will end at the Elimination Chamber, with Reigns obviously going over for, like I said, obvious reasons. But, good match, good way to kick off the show. I figured they'd probably kick it off with one of the title matches, and it was a good way to kick it off. Rollins is great, Reigns is doing some of the best work of his career, whether you like Reigns or not. The guy's a born heel. He just seems like an arrogant prick that you really don't want to like. And maybe he's like that in real life, or he's just playing his character well, but he's doing his best work of his career. So that was a good one. And the next match was the Women's Royal Rumble. And I enjoyed this Rumble. I really did. I knew I was going to enjoy it. They had a nice little nostalgic throwbacks. Obviously, the biggest impacts came from the Impact Knockouts champion, or at least the biggest impact of the returning people. Obviously, someone else made a way bigger impact, but it was kind of cool because I was wondering when it was time for Mickey to come out, whether they were going to use her old WWE theme or her hardcore country theme, and I was also wondering if she was going to have the Impact Knockouts title. And I want to say TNA so bad. I swear, I don't think I'm ever going to get over that. I want to say TNA so bad. If I say TNA in this video again, forgive me. It's ingrained in my brain. But it was cool when she came out to the hardcore country theme, and she had the Knockouts title, and she put up a good fight. Obviously, she wasn't going to win, but honestly, just in the time Mickie James was, from the time she entered the ring to the time she was eliminated, the WWE did more for Impact Wrestling than that entire whole feud and thing they did with AEW, because AEW completely buried them, and that's another story for another time. But this is actually more positive towards Impact than anything that AEW did when they're quote unquote working relationship with Impact. So it was a good match. Of course, you had your surprise returns. You had Melina, who I wish Melina would have got a little more time in the ring, because Melina's always been a favorite of mine. She's a damn good wrestler. She's really underrated as a worker. I thought she would have got a little bit more time, but that's okay. Kelly, she looked absolutely horrible. I swear, she didn't even look like the same person I saw back in the day. She needs to lay off the plastic surgery. She looks absolutely atrocious. And of course, Michelle McCool, Mrs. Undertaker, and she she had a good showing because, like I said, she's married to the Undertaker, and she likes to pull that weight around. She liked to do that shit when she was full time. You also had Cameron, who's coming in, and as soon as I saw Cameron, I knew that she was there basically to help further the story between Sonya Deville and Naomi, which hopefully that ends soon, because I like Naomi, but Sonya Deville is just horrible. She's terrible on the mic. She's overrated as all hell in the ring. Like, I don't see what people see in Sonya Deville. I never really have. And she's horrible when she's on the mic in the pre-show, and when she was on commentary, and like when the jacket's on, I'm a WWE official. Like, Sonya, just go away. Nobody likes you. Literally, no one. You could just disappear from the show tomorrow, and no one would probably even notice. That was horrible. But obviously Cameron was used to further the story between Naomi and Sonya, which hopefully ends pretty damn quick. A nice little appearance by Ivory, too, in her right to censor garb. That was pretty funny. And the fact that she was still talking on the mic when in the process of being eliminated was hilarious. Ivory was always underrated as hell. And, of course, you had the Bella Twins. They, whatever. It was funny to see Brie Bella eliminate Nikki, because I don't care much for the Bella Twins. Alicia Fox, she was okay. And she had there was a little mishap in that match with Natalya. They looked like they collided heads, and Natalya, you could see she was favoring her forehead the rest of the match. And I was wondering, and it looked like she might have been bleeding from the nose or the mouth. I couldn't tell. It could have just been the lipstick. But she was feeling her head, so she was hurt. She may have a concussion. And I was wondering, if she's hurt that bad, why don't they just call an audible and throw her out of the ring? And then I'm thinking that they must have some kind of plan for her later on in the Rumble. Sort of like a few years ago when Beth Phoenix was in the Rumble, and she busted the back of her head open, and she was bleeding pretty good, but she was still in the ring. Now, in that situation, if she's not going to win it, and she's just in there as just a person to be in the ring, she could have been eliminated a long time. But she went like another, 10, 15 minutes like that. And I was told my wife, they must have something planned for her. And I believe that's when Santina Morella as Santina came out. So they had something planned for her, just like they had something planned for her later in the match. And also, Sarah Logan coming back was kind of cool. I kind of wish she'd got a little more time to work with Liv Morgan, because that would have been entertaining. But she was just there to fill a spot. Mighty Molly was pretty good. Was a nice appearance, even though she didn't last very long. And coming in as Mighty Molly was funny. And I knew that her and Nikki Cross, I'm calling her Nikki Cross, would come to blows because, two superheroes, yada yada. And, of course, the biggest return, obviously, was Ronda Rousey. And I said in my video last week, the other day, that if Ronda returns, she's going to dominate and win. And she may not have dominated like I thought she was, but, of course, she was going to win. And I guess that's okay, I guess. I'm not a big Ronda Rousey fan. I don't really go jump for joy over Rousey. I really don't like her. But I do understand why they would have her win this match. And, obviously, she's going to feud with Charlotte. It's almost a parallel of a couple years ago when McIntyre eliminated Lesnar. He just stared a hole right through him the whole time he was on the floor. Same concept. And the rumors are coming out that they've got a set match with Charlotte. And Charlotte, not a big fan of hers either, but she's very good and she's competent enough to get a good match out of Rousey. Rousey is just not as good a wrestler as people think she is. But, I digress. I get why they did it. She's over. The crowd went crazy. And she's a name to put on the marquee. That's what's most important. That's what people don't seem to understand about professional wrestling. And any sport, really, is there are wrestlers better than some of the guys they push. Like, I got into an argument on Twitter the other day about, people bringing up how Hogan and Goldberg and all these, and they bring back all these legends who are not as good of workers as the guys who they're taking the spots from, which is true. But they draw more money. They're more over. It's you put that name on the marquee, people are going to, if they're going to see it, they're going to notice it, and they're going to tune in. That's what Ronda does. That's what you do with Ronda. So that's why she won the Rumble. And my pick was, like I said, if Ronda wasn't there, I was hoping Liv would win it. She didn't win it, but she did last the longest at 37 minutes and 20 seconds. She had a good showing. I wish she would have been there a little longer. I was hoping she could have been in the Final Four, but she did have a good showing. And some surprises in the match. Sasha Banks being eliminated so early. I wonder if maybe she's got a little bit of an injury or something, because she did some stuff, but she didn't really go into any real in-depth stuff, and she got eliminated quite early for someone of Sasha Banks' stature on the card. So we'll see about that. And there was a few returns that I expected but did not see. I thought for sure that we would see Bayley, Asuka, and Paige, but they were not to be found. Now, I don't know about Bayley's injury status. Who knows? She may not. Obviously, she's probably not ready from coming back from that torn ACL. And Asuka, maybe not either. But Paige was actually medically cleared to wrestle recently, so I thought for sure she would come back in this Rumble, because a Royal Rumble match is kind of a low-impact match for someone returning from an injury like that after so many years off, like Edge. It's you go in and get your stuff in and then get your feel back, and you don't have to concentrate on just one person. You don't have to take a lot of crazy bumps. That's why a lot of veterans I can see coming back for Royal Rumbles and Battle Royals, like maybe The Undertaker or at one time Hulk Hogan. You don't have to take a lot of bumps if your body can't take those bumps in a Battle Royal. So I thought we were going to see them, but it was a little disappointing. But overall, I did find this Rumble very entertaining. It was good. Ronda won. I understand it. Don't necessarily like it, but it didn't really take away from the match, because I understand the business aspect of it. And, your sentimental favorites don't win, you know what I mean? There's a lot of people who, like me, who wanted Liv to win. Some people probably wanted to see Mickey win, or Charlotte, or someone like that. I get it. Everybody has their own personal favorites, but I get why they did it. Very, very good Women's Rumble. The Women's Rumbles have been very underrated on these shows since they started doing it, and I can't believe that took so long to do it. That was pretty good. It was, Mickey James coming out was a nice touch. It was a nice little way to kind of smooth things out after the whole incident with her release. So that was good. So, Women's Rumble, entertaining. Even my wife liked it. She's not a real big wrestling fan, especially women's wrestling, but she actually enjoyed watching it. So, I liked it. It was a good spot on the card for that Rumble, because you don't want to put them back to back, because then you get some serious crowd fatigue. You need some filler in there. And the next match was pretty much just that of Becky and Doudrop. Now, Becky, of course, was going to win this match. That was never in doubt. I still think Becky's going to go on to WrestleMania to face Liv Morgan, and Liv is going to get her win. I still think that's going to happen. I don't know. It's just what I think is going to happen, but who knows? As we still got 2 months to Mania, so who knows how many times plans can change. But Doudrop looked pretty good. She's talented. She's being bogged down with that ridiculous name of Doudrop. What the hell happened? What the hell's so wrong with Piper Niven? That's one thing that the WWE, on the main roster, they do with people. They change the names of the wrestlers that don't need a name change. And then the wrestlers that do need a name and gimmick change, they come up with the exact same name and gimmick. Like when you talk about that, you talk about like Adam Rose or Tyler Breeze or someone like that. That stuff wasn't going to work on the big stage, and that stuff that works at Full Sail doesn't always work at the top. But the name Piper Niven is a good name. Doudrop makes no sense whatsoever. It was ridiculous. But Becky is Becky. She's great in the ring. Doudrop's pretty good, and she's young, and I think she's got a bright future, and I think she's got some championship wins ahead of her. So no problem with that match. It was a good match. It was a good filler. Becky wins, retains, and will go on to WrestleMania to defend against, I think, Liv, but who knows what will happen in that long run. Now we get to the real meat of this whole thing. So Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Now, if you watch my preview video, I said that Lashley was going to win this match due to shenanigans from Heyman, and I did not expect Roman to show up. But that's what happened, and they had a good. It was only like a 10-minute match, which is good. It was just about your basic Brock Lesnar fare, but it was hard hitting. They were throwing some seriously stiff suplexes. Both of them were really laying them in and taking them. I mean, especially Lashley. I don't know what Lashley was thinking, turning like that and taking all the brunt on his shoulder. That was just insane. You want to take it. You want to take it on as much of your back as possible, but. Hopefully, there'll be no lingering effects. And Lesnar, he got dropped in his head a couple of times. Those two are a couple of bulls, so you knew it was going to be a short, hard-hitting affair, and that's what it was. And of course, the ref bump happens, then you know something's going to happen. And here comes Roman Reigns, bam, with the spear. He reaches his hand out. Heyman hands him the title. He nails him. Bobby Lashley wins. Heyman walks out with him. I knew that Heyman was going to be involved in the finish to cost Brock the title. I wasn't sure if it was going to be accidental or intentional, but clearly it was intentional. He's back with his tribal chief, which a pissed off Brock Lesnar is a fun Brock Lesnar too, and he's pretty pissed off now. And you know, this is the last we see of Lesnar. Anybody who watched it knows what I'm talking about. But it was a good match. It was a hard-hitting match. It told the story it needed to. Lashley's the guy who can carry that belt on Raw. SmackDown, Lesnar will go back to SmackDown and chase Reigns. And Lashley probably enters some kind of a feud. Maybe a three-way feud with Drew McIntyre and Big E, because I think that's probably what they're going to go with at Mania. I could be wrong, but I knew that McIntyre was going to be involved in some kind of multi-man match. I figured it was going to be with Brock and Roman, but I see a triple threat on the horizon. And the next match is the mixed tag match with Edge and Beth Phoenix against Miz and Maurice. This was a pretty good match. Obviously, Miz is just so... I mean, whether you like Miz or not, he is so good at his job. Because if you watch Miz and Mrs., and if you don't, I actually recommend it because it's a pretty funny show. My wife and I actually enjoy watching it. And even though I understand that reality TV is not really reality-based, the Miz on that TV show seems like a regular, likable guy. A guy that you could actually just hang out with and you know, shoot the shit with. But the Miz character is just so annoying. And you just want to... He has such a punchable face. He is probably one of the best heels in terms of just getting that kind of heat in the last 20 years in the business. Whether you like him or not, he's great at his job, and that's why he's stuck around so long. He is so damn good at his job and being hated. And Maurice, too, she's just the snobby French bitch. That character she portrays is just, it's perfect. These two are the perfect heel couple, really. And the perfect face couple right now is Edge and Beth. Beth, obviously, she looks better now than she did when she was a wrestler. She's in phenomenal shape. Edge is too. And there were some issues in this match. There were some timing issues between Beth and Maurice, but that's not surprising because it's been a while for both of them. And you got to knock that rust off. And I actually expected the opposite outcome with Miz and Maurice winning and cheating and setting up some kind of a gimmick match for WrestleMania between Edge and Miz. But now I think that this feud may be over because Edge and Beth did get the win. But if it's not over, I think there's a couple ways they could go with this at WrestleMania. I think Edge and Miz in some kind of a gimmick match, like a last man standing or an I Quit match or a cage match or something like that. But then I remembered after I said that in my last video, I'm like, WrestleMania is in Texas. What they could do as kind of a nice little throwback to the like 30 years ago, to the 70s and the 80s, and time when I grew up watching wrestling, and you could have a rematch between these four in a Texas tornado match, which is basically a tornado match. Is like, it's a tag team match, but there's no tags. All four people are legal. So basically, you would have Edge and Miz fighting each other, Beth and Maurice fighting each other at the same time, one fall to a finish, no disqualifications. So an old school Texas tornado match could be the way they go with this, because I don't know. I mean, they could have ended it, but I think that they'll probably get more out of this. I don't necessarily agree with it, because like I said, I respect The Miz and I like The Miz, but you're wasting what little matches Edge has left in him on this feud. And it's kind of, but there's other guys he could be wrestling to make more of an impact, but I can't complain with the results because it's been a pretty entertaining build-up, and it was a pretty entertaining match. And if they run it back at Mania, I think that Beth and Maurice will be a lot better together. Because, you know, it's just, you got to work on the timing and just you got to knock the rust off. So I think that they'll actually be better, but I can't complain too much about this match. It was a good match. It was a fun story. You could tell Edge and Beth and Miz and Maurice were all having a good time working with each other out there. So that was pretty good. So that was that part of the show that I just mentioned, from the Reigns and Rollins to Edge and Beth and everything in between, was pretty damn good. It was entertaining. And now we get to the Men's Royal Rumble. And I'm going to say it right now. This Royal Rumble match, this Men's Royal Rumble match, and this Royal Rumble match in general, is the absolute worst match I have ever seen in my life. The worst Royal Rumble match I've ever seen in my life. The most boring, the most uneventful. It was just atrocious. And, I mean, this match makes the 2011 Royal Rumble that Alberto Del Rio won look like the 2001 Royal Rumble or the 92 Royal Rumble in comparison. This was awful. And like I said, no surprise. I mean, the surprise entries were what? You had the surprises what? Johnny Knoxville wasn't a surprise. He shouldn't have been in there, but I understand they're promoting the movie, the Jackass movie. But the only real surprises you had was Bad Bunny at 27 and Shane McMahon at 28. Are you serious? You brought in so many of the women from the way back and brought in a champion from another company into being in that match. You couldn't bring it back a Braun Strowman or a Bray Wyatt or anybody other than Bad Goddamn Bunny and Shane McMahon. And I'll say Brock wasn't a surprise. We all knew that was happening. The writing was on the wall the second he got screwed out of the title. He was going to be there. I thought he was going to be like backstage and he was going to take some like a jobber who had a spot in there out, throw him to a wall or something to take his spot. But no, it just kind of, his music just hit. But it was just, there were so many people in this match who did not belong in this match, in my opinion. Dominic Mysterio, I cannot stand him. I wish his dad would retire so they could just fire his ass because he's horrible. He's absolutely terrible. This Rick Boogs guy, this steroided up Joey Ryan looking guy, he didn't deserve to be in this match. Madcap Moss is awful. The aforementioned Bad Bunny. Now, a lot of people are talking about, they respect Bad Bunny because he puts in the work and he did the training, which, yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I can respect that about him, but the bottom line is basically, and I know this is, the wrestling business is a lot different than when I grew up, and I've always known it's a show, so I'm not saying it's real, but for the longest time, even though it wasn't real, they put on the illusion that it was a legitimate fight that they're in, even though we all knew it wasn't. But now with Bad Bunny and him going in and doing Canadian destroyers, so he's had a few months of training. So it basically tells me that you can have a few months of training and go into a wrestling match with the person who's been doing this for over a decade and be on the same level as him. I don't like that message because that's just cheapening your product. And the Bad Bunny, he eliminated Sheamus, and him and Mysterio eliminated Dolph Ziggler. Seriously? At least Johnny Knoxville got eliminated quick and he got beat up, so that was fine. I don't have a problem with that. But Bad Bunny eliminating Sheamus and Ziggler. Now Ziggler, they've already wasted him. He's just there for the paycheck and everything else. So, but Sheamus, come on, man. Just make him look like a plate full of piss, why don't you? And Shane McMahon coming in, which makes no sense to me, and obviously because he eliminated Kevin Owens, which is ridiculous on the face of it as well. And they only added him because apparently they're going to reignite his feud with Kevin Owens that no one cared about, 2 years ago or whatever. And they're going to reignite that, and that's probably going to happen at WrestleMania. And it's like, man, Shane, why does Shane even have to be in this match anyway when his grandmother died that day? I mean, I understand the show must go on, but Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny in this show, this was boring. There was no surprises. Not even Brock Lesnar could save that because we all knew it was coming. We knew Brock Lesnar was coming, but I mean, the last two in the ring were obviously the two best guys. I'm surprised Big E got eliminated as quickly as he did, but the final two is Lesnar and McIntyre, and I hope they run this back at some point in front of fans because I really think that COVID screwed McIntyre big time, obviously, because he should have got that win against Lesnar in front of fans. And Lesnar was doing everything he could to put him over, so it's kind of a waste like that, but it happens. But yeah, Lesnar eliminates McIntyre and wins the Rumble, so he'll go on to chase. He'll go on the next 2 months to try to make Roman's life a living hell, and Paul Heyman's. But overall, this Royal Rumble match, this men's Royal Rumble match, was the worst one I've ever seen. It was boring as hell. It was just there was no juice to it whatsoever. There was nothing. AJ Styles got eliminated that early, and it's just it was booked all wrong. I mean, as well put together as the women's rumble was the men's rumble was on the other side. It was just this match was just as bad as the women's match was good. And I understand, that certain people, but I understand that, there's only going to be 2 or 3 people are going to win this damn thing. Obviously, it's like they try to put the thing together like everyone has a chance, but we all know that's a bunch of crap. But like guys like Dominic Mysterio, Rick Boogs, Madcap Moss, even Happy Corbin, and people like that, they don't need to be in this match. They're terrible. No one cares about these people. Bring someone in from the NWA. It's not like they haven't done it before. Bring someone from Mexico or Japan or something. Do so, and especially a nice little stick to AEW at the same time. But they didn't do that. I thought for sure if they were going to bring Mickie James in from Impact, they were going to bring someone a surprise in. And I said that, like I said, Trevor Murdoch maybe Nick Aldis, Braun Strowman. I don't even think he's signed with anybody exclusively, so they could have brought him in for a one-off. It was sloppy. It was just, they just threw their hands up. It was like, whatever, Brock's going to win. Just go out there and do whatever. It was horrible. So, I'm glad I didn't pay for this. If I'd have paid for this pay-per-view, I'd have been royally pissed. But that's basically my thoughts on this Rumble. Everything before the men's Rumble was really good, really entertaining, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the show. I really did. And WWE's 2... they're called premium live events, quote unquote, but I'm going to call them pay-per-views because that's what I grew up with. So far, the two pay-per-views of the year, Day 1 and Royal Rumble, overall have been really good. But this Rumble match was just like, I can honestly give the first part of the show a B+ at worst, and I can't even give this men's Rumble an F-. It's like a 0, not even an F. It's a damn 0. So it really bogged down the show. And if they were going to do that, they should have just made the Women's Rumble go on last and changed everything up. Because they could have done that. They could have moved, the Lesnar-Lashley match first. And if Lesnar needed a little bit of a breather in between, they could have put the Becky Doudrop match after. Then the Men's Rumble. And then do all the things, have the Women's Rumble afterwards. Because it was a hell of a lot better. And even though I don't really care for Ronda Rousey, the crowd was into that. And they wanted to see Rousey win. So the men's Rumble sucked. Everything else was good. Rollins Reigns was entertaining. The women's Rumble was great. Becky Doudrop is good for what it was. Lashley Lesnar was the hard-hitting fight we thought it was going to be. Edge and Beth against Miz and Maurice was good enough. A little bit of rust on the women, which is understandable. They haven't wrestled in a while. So, overall, damn good show. Damn disappointing men's Rumble. It was horrible. They got the point across. Obviously, it was for Brock to win to continue his feud with Roman Reigns. But the bottom line is, that match could have been better. Even with Roman inevitably winning, it could have been better. So, that's all I got to say about that. Good show overall, bad men's Rumble. But let me know in the comments what you thought. Because I bet a lot of people would think that match was good, and a lot of people love what Bad Bunny did. I don't. I think it's terrible, but that's just one person's opinion. I want to hear yours. But I thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And if you did like the video, hit that like button and subscribe for more of this content. Because, like I said, I'm going to have wrestling and sports and a bunch of other stuff coming as often as possible to try to keep you guys entertained. So, again, I thank you for watching. Enjoy your day. I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.